Hi everybody, I'm Jim Rohn. It's a pleasure to have an opportunity to visit with you for a few minutes. I have a very important subject to discuss with you. It's called How to Be Successful in Sales. I've got 3 simple steps, and I think you'll find them interesting. If you follow these 3 steps, I think I can promise you that financial income will not be your problem. I've had a unique experience sharing ideas around the world, and I talk to a lot of salespeople from all kinds of sales background, people from various companies handling various products, various services. And it's one of the important questions I get, how to become successful in sales. First of all, Mr. Schoaf, the man who helped me to change my life when I was 25 years old, taught me that success in sales was a very worthy objective. He said sales will get you the kind of income you want, and you'll learn a lot of lessons about people and about life and lifestyle if you get involved in sales, and I found out that that was true. So sales is a very worthwhile project to work on. The art of persuasion, getting people to buy, getting them to change, getting them to act, getting them to respond. And if you'll follow the 3 simple steps I've got for you to consider today, I think you'll find things will go much better for you if you happen to be involved in a sales career. So let me get right to it. The 3 fundamental steps for being successful in sales. Number 1 is very simple, and I don't know any substitute for it. The first one simply says, talk to lots of people every day. Sure enough, when I talk to someone who's involved in sales and I say, how are you doing? And this person may say, well, things aren't going too well at the moment. I'm not doing very well in my sales career. My first question always is, how many people did you talk to yesterday? And I find that sure enough, the person, instead of giving me this figure that I can jot down, how many people they talked to yesterday, they give me a story. They tell me that they had some places to go and they had some things to do, and some things came up and so on. So no, they didn't talk to anyone yesterday. And I say, well, we've already identified the problem. Because the first step to success in sales is talk to lots of people every day. And then at the end of the day, it's very important to do one more thing. Jot down how many people you talk to. Just put a little number down somewhere in your journal. I talked to 10 people today. I talked to 5 people today. I talked to 3 people today. However many. Just keep track. It's a good idea to keep track of all the numbers, because just like a baseball player, to be successful, you got to know your batting average. You got to know how you're doing. Your contacts versus your presentations. Presentations versus the close or the actual sale. And how much money you're earning. You got to keep track of all of those figures, because figures tell the story, and the figures don't lie. And there's one thing we don't want to do as we go through life, and that's kid ourselves. A delusion is probably one of the worst diseases to suffer. The guy keeps walking west looking for the sunrise. I mean, he just doesn't know, he doesn't understand. But this is the first fundamental for success in sales. Talk to lots of people every day, and at the end of the day, keep track of the numbers so you can go back over last week, you can go back over last month's numbers, and find out where some of the problems are. Okay? Now, if you talk to lots of people every day, I can promise you 2 things will happen. For sure. Number 1, you're bound to make sales if you talk to enough people. Even if you're just getting started in your sales career, or you just started for some new company, selling some new products, and you're not very good at it at first, people will still buy if you talk to enough of them. Because I have found that some people buy for the strangest reasons. Honest. So if you talk to enough people, you'll find a whole variety of reasons why people will buy, and you'll have a chance to make sales. Some people buy out of sympathy for the salesperson. They really don't want to see your kid starve. And if you make a sincere presentation, even if it's faulty, somebody will buy just because they're benevolent. They want to help somebody, and you happen to be the next person along. So if you talk to lots of people every day, sure enough, you'll find some people that will buy because they're sympathetic. Okay? Now, some people buy for other strange reasons. Some people buy just because they have the wherewithal to buy. If I'm talking to someone and I know they're a person of means and they say, "Why should I buy your product or your service, Mr. Rohn?" I simply say, "Well, because you can." I talk to people all day long who can't, but you can. So let me have your check. And sure enough, some people, just because they have the wherewithal to buy, will become a good prospect for a customer. So if you talk to lots of people every day, you're bound to make some sales. Even if at first your presentation was so bad you just went around all day saying to lots of people, you wouldn't want to buy anything, would you? Sure enough, somebody's going to say, "Well, maybe I would. What are you selling?" And that'll get the process started. So if you talk to lots of people every day, you're going to find some people that will buy your product, that will buy your service. But that's the key. Talk to lots of people every day. Now here's the second thing that will happen. If you talk to lots of people every day, you're bound to get better. See, when you do something over and over and over again, your skill increases. When I first started lecturing about 15, 16 years ago, I will admit to you I wasn't that good at it. In fact, the first speech I gave, I stood up to lecture and my mind sat back down, if you've ever had that problem. I opened my mouth and nothing came out. My knees were knocking together. The sweat's pouring off my face. I'm shaking like a leaf. It's called terror, in case you haven't tried it. So that first one wasn't that good, but sure enough, I got up the courage to do it again. And when I did it again, it was easier. When I did it again, I got better. And now I've been lecturing constantly for the last 15, 16 years, and I've gotten better at it. And I can promise you that if you will practice your presentation, practice is just as valuable as a sale. Let's say you are just getting started and you talk to 10 people. 9 say no, and 1 says yes. The one that says yes is important to your financial success, but the 9 who say no are important to your personal progress, called practice. Because the more you practice, the better you will get at the job. So the first question here is, how long do you want it to take to get good at what you do? If you don't want it to take long, talk to lots of people every day, not only for the results of sales, but for the results of progress. And then, of course, when you get started, talking to lots of people every day, you can employ what we call the law of averages. And the law of averages will work for anyone. If you do something often enough, you'll get a ratio of results. If you're getting started and talk to 10 people and only 1 says yes, you've got a ratio going called 1 out of 10. And the unique thing about the ratio is, once it starts, it tends to continue. If you talk to 10 more, sure enough, you'll get another one. If you talk to 10 more, you'll get another one. It's that uncanny thing called the law of averages. Now you might say, well, 1 out of 10 isn't that good, but at first you don't worry how good it is. You just get the ratio started. Then when you know you've got a ratio like 1 out of 10, see, you can start to compete. If I just joined the company and I can only get 1 out of 10, and you've been there for a while, so you can get 9 out of 10, if we have a contest, you and me, I will win. And the reason is because during the month, if it's a contest for a month, I will talk to 100 people and get 10. And see, if you're so good at it, you've probably only talked to 10 people and you've gotten 9. But sure enough, at the end of the month, I've got 10 and you've got 9. I win. I simply make up for in numbers what, first of all, I lack in skill. So that's number 1, both to learn and to grow and to get results. Talk to lots of people every day. There is no substitute for that in being successful in sales. Now here's the second step to be successful in sales. The second step is be real nice. I don't know any substitute for that. You've got to learn to be real nice. Attitude makes the difference in how these numbers finally work out, called progress. In affecting other people with words, we found something very interesting in studying communication. It's 80% what you feel and only 20% what you know. It's not so much what you say as how you say it. Attitude makes the difference in results. Attitude makes the difference in the quality of life. Attitude makes the difference in the result in success in sales. It's how you feel. Most people are interested in how you feel, not just what you know. Your feelings of sincerity, your feelings about other people, your feelings about yourself, your feelings about the future, your feelings about the product. If you are positive, if you feel good, if you have a good personality, if you've worked hard on yourself, and now you make the presentation, you can't believe the difference that it will make. Practice being real nice. And I say practice because sometimes there isn't call really for being nice. When the weather isn't nice and your problems are heavy, we have a tendency to go on the negative side. But if you'll resist all of that and be nice when the weather isn't, be nice when other people aren't, be nice when the circumstances really seem to be going against you. If you will practice that daily, working on your attitude, because that makes the greatest difference in how your sales ratio finally works out. Practice being real nice. It means learning to work harder on yourself than you do on your prospect. Most salespeople say, I've got to work hard on my prospect, but see, that isn't where it's at. You've got to learn to work hard on yourself. Work hard on your personality. Work hard on your language. Work hard on your style, your presentation style. Work hard on learning how not to talk too long, not to talk too little, but making it just right. And make sure you understand other people's problems and difficulties. In sales, we learn when someone has a problem, you recognize it. You say, John, I can understand how that feels. I've been there. I know what it's like not to have the money. I know what it's like to have a difficult time making the decision. I've had those times all through my life. Understanding, sympathy, awareness, sincerity, style, commitment, courage, excitement, being positive. Those are all the elements that really changes the ratio in sales. So number 2 is so important, being real nice. Now here's the third step to being successful in sales, and I think you'll agree with me as to the importance of this one. And number 3 is give good service. There's no substitute for good service. At the end of the day, it's not a bad idea to jot down your grade for the day for service. At the end of the day, just take a little time to think about the day and say, would you give yourself an A today for service? The people that you've sold to, did you follow through? Did you write them a little note? Did you say thank you on the telephone? See, the real work begins after you've made the sale. When the prospect is already on the file, or the customer is already on the file, now you've got to take the time to make sure you render good service. And see, that's where the big money is. The big money is in taking care of the people that you sell to. Excellent service leads to multiple sales. One good customer properly taken care of will open doors for you you can't open by yourself. They'll get you to see people you could never see on your own. Somebody well taken care of. So at the end of the day, contemplate, did I get an A today for service? Did I get a B? Was it a C, sort of average? Was it D, not too good? Was it an F? Wasn't my day? Make sure you have a good plan for rendering good service and taking care of what you start. And if you'll follow that important step, service, concentrate on that. Do all the little things that most people don't do. Write the notes most people don't write. Make the calls most people don't make. Do the smiling most people don't do. Take care of the things most people don't take care of, the little details. If you'll make that part of your sales program, service, follow-up, contact, making sure you keep in touch, call them before they call you, you can't believe the difference it'll make in your overall sales effort. So if you'll follow those 3 steps, talk to lots of people every day, there's no substitute for the numbers. Pass out your business cards, make the contacts, make the calls, stack up the numbers. If you'll do that, and number 2, practice attitude. Make sure personality and style and feelings and awareness and compassion and understanding is the major part of your communication process and your sales process. If you'll work hard on that, then if you'll find ways to give good service, not miss anything, take care of all the details, you will find that your success in sales will start to grow, and your career will be promising beyond anything you can imagine. I want to thank you for giving me this time to come and visit with you. It's only been a few minutes, but I hope that what little we've had to say on this subject of sales will be important to you. And if I have a chance to see you again, if I have a chance to meet you again, I'll be happy for that. Make sure you're writing a good chapter this year in the storybook of your successful life. A chapter others might want to read someday. A chapter that'll be preserved. Something that your children will be proud of. Something that you'll be proud of. Make this an important year for you. Really pour it on. Stack up the numbers. Do the changing and the growing necessary. Concentrate on service, and you'll be successful. Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure to be with you. I hope to see you soon. Goodbye. Hi everybody, I'm Jim Rohn. I was just going over our latest issue of our new magazine called The Achiever. I want to thank you for taking the time to spend just a few minutes with me today. I have a very interesting subject. I call it 5 Simple Steps to Go from Average to Fortune. I've been asked to give it in many places for corporations and companies, and now I have the opportunity to share it with you. It's a pretty big subject for someone like me. For my life started out rather modestly, up in farm country in Idaho where I was raised. I grew up in this little community of some 4,000 or 5,000 people, and went to high school, graduated, went to college for a year and a half, and then I quit, decided I was smart enough, and got me a job to see if I couldn't make all of my ambitions come true. My parents, I think, gave me a very good foundation, a very good start. I was an only child, so I think they took some extra time with me, and got off to a pretty good start. A couple of years after I left school, I found a very beautiful young lady and persuaded her to marry me, and kept making all of those grand promises, as we're inclined to do, that everything was going to work well and that she had made a wise decision. Well, 2 or 3 years after I'd gotten married, it didn't look like my new bride had made such a wise decision, because I'm now starting to struggle. I've got far too much month at the end of the money, if you've ever known what that's like, and I'm wondering what to do. I'm behind on my bills. I'm willing to work hard, that's not my problem, but it isn't going as well as I had thought it would up until that point. I'm struggling, and I'm wondering what to do. Should I go back to school and get some more education? I didn't have any capital to start a business, so all these questions were going through my mind at a time when I needed some answers, how to really become successful and how to turn my life around. Well, at age 25, good fortune came my way. And sometimes it's a little difficult to describe good fortune. Why do unique things happen to you when they do? Part of that's a mystery to me. I really don't know. One of my friends says, well, things don't just happen. They happen just. And maybe that's it. I really don't know. But my good fortune was, at age 25, I met a very remarkable man. His name was Mr. Schoaf, Mr. Earl Schoaf. And he's the gentleman who gave me those last final answers that I had been looking for up until that time. Mr. Schoaf was a very unique gentleman. He was a businessman, an entrepreneur. He had several businesses. And he took a liking to me, and he hired me, and I went to work for him. I spent the next 5 years working for him. And then, unfortunately, at the end of that 5 years, he died. But I did get to spend 5 years with this remarkable man, and he's the gentleman who gave me the answers. He gave me the points and the ideas that helped to really turn my life around. And I will always be grateful for finding someone who took the time to share their information with me. The best thing Mr. Schoaf gave me was not a job. The best thing he gave me was the benefit of his philosophy. And fortunately for me, his philosophy worked for me. I practiced it, I utilized it, and I put it to work. And about 17 years ago, I was living in Beverly Hills. And I was going through all the notes that I'd gathered up during that 5-year period. And the idea came to me, why not share these ideas with other people? I've used them to change my life. Things have worked out well for me. I wonder if others might find them interesting. So I put all of the material together and 5 years ago gave my first lecture, my first seminar. And ever since then I've spent more and more of my time lecturing and sharing ideas on how to do better, how to make your life personally, socially, and economically work out better. And especially for the last 6 or 7 years, I've had the opportunity to travel around the world. The seminar's been translated in many languages, and I find myself now spending the biggest share of my time lecturing, sharing ideas, and trying to come up with answers that can make a difference in your life. Let me give you this simple little talk, how to go from average to fortune. There's 5 simple steps. You might like to make a note of them. Here's the first one. Get serious. That's number 1. I don't know any substitute for that. You've really got to get serious. You don't have to be grim, but you must be serious. I know a guy that's got a half a dozen jokes keeping him from becoming wealthy. He's not known as rich. He's known as a joker, which I guess is okay if that's the kind of life you want to live. But it really isn't the best way to live. To go from average to fortune, you must get serious. And you must get serious about 2 very important things. Number 1 is setting your goals and where you want to go. Designing the next 5, the next 10 years is so vitally important. What do you want to do economically? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? What would you like to have? What would you like to share? How much would you like to earn? How far would you like to go? Those are some major questions to ask. And for that all to work out like you want it to for the next 5 or 10 years, in my personal opinion, you've got to get serious. Then you have to get serious about another important subject. And that important subject is called personal development. Personal development is striving hard to become the kind of person that you want to be. And to become the kind of person you want to be, you've got to work at it. 10 years from now, you will surely become someone. The big question is, who? What are you becoming? And if you go to work on it now, sure enough, in a very short period of time, you can take on a new direction to become the kind of person you want to be. There's a very important question to ask, and the question is, 10 years from now, you will surely arrive. And the question is, where? So to answer the question of where you want to arrive and the kind of person you want to be, you've got to get serious. So that's point number 1. To make your life worthwhile and unique, to go from average to fortune, you've got to get serious. Now, the second point is, get smart. To make your life work out worthwhile, you've got to have some ideas. You've got to have the information. So you've got to be smart. In fact, in this decade, you must be much smarter than you were in the last decade. You've got to read the books. You've got to come up with the information. When I have a chance to talk to the high school kids, that's the theme of my talk. Get smart. There's nothing worse than being stupid. And if you will read the books, learn from your experiences, do all the things that you possibly can to get the information, sure enough, you'll be wiser this year than you were last year. And I've got a few techniques that I teach in my seminar on how to get smarter, keeping a journal, going to the lectures, going to the seminars, listening to the sermons, picking up ideas from other people. You just must keep up this steady process of learning. Never cease your quest for knowledge. And that's one of the key points to go from average to fortune. Get smart. Now here's number 3. You've got to get going. All of the things that you've learned will not do you that much good if you don't put it into an action plan. You've got to get going. In my management and leadership seminar, we teach game plans, how to put all the good things that you've learned into action. Economic action, social action, personal action. How to make the changes and how to actually do the work, how to actually function. Get going, that's the key. Some people are ever learning, but they don't put it into action. They don't really take the action. It's like the man who keeps bringing materials to the building site and never builds anything. He keeps bringing in the sand and the gravel and the windows and the doors and the roofing material, and he just stacks up all these supplies, but he never builds anything. See, if you do that long enough, fairly soon they'll come and take you away. You've got to do something with what you've learned. You've got to take action. You've got to get going. So that's one of the most important things to learn, how to design your days, how to design your weeks, how to design the months, so that you take the proper action to get the proper return that you're looking for, whether it's economic or personal. Get going. It's a major key. Now here's number 4. You must get excited. And not just the false enthusiasm of just pure positive thinking. You've got to get excited over some very basic things. One is, get excited over your ability to make yourself do the necessary things. Because discipline is major step 1 toward personal progress. And anytime a person wishes to, they can make major changes in their life, personally and socially and financially. It doesn't ever have to be the same after today. No telling what you could do today if you really wish to. The act of murder is a clear indication that a person in one drastic act can forever change the course of their life. It just happens to be in the negative direction. What I would ask you to do, starting today, is get excited about committing an act that's positive, an act that's constructive, to make the changes in your life that you want made, and to go the direction that you want to go. So that's number 4, get excited. Get excited about your potential. Human capacity is usually never the problem. Little children can learn several languages. We can learn to do the most incredible things. All we need to do is take the time to do it. So it's not a matter of capacity. It's a matter of judgment. It's a matter of excitement. It's a matter of will. And it's a matter of wanting to bad enough. So it's pretty exciting to know that any day you wish, you can change your life. Any day you pick out, you can make major changes. It doesn't ever have to be the same again. And that's exciting. Knowing that intellectually and personally, you can actually do the things that will make major changes in your life. That's number 4. Here's number 5. Number 5 is get away. I have found, especially in the last 15, 20 years, that there's an important thing called life balance. You've got to learn to get away. You must learn to get away and be alone. Learn to get away and reflect. Learn to get away and learn how to live as well as how to earn. How sad it would be to learn how to earn well but not learn how to live well. You must balance your life. We teach something, especially in my staff, I teach something called lifestyle. Lifestyle is how you learn to live your life. Some people have money but they don't even know how to spend it. They have time, but they don't know how to spend it. Some people are successful, but they don't know how to spend their success. They don't know what to do with it. They don't get joy from it. Rather, they get animosity. A father takes $5, crushes it, and throws it at his son and says, if you need it that bad, take it. Now, it's the same $5, but instead of dispensing it with joy, he dispenses it with animosity. That's the difference in not knowing how to live. It's called lifestyle. Then you've got to take time to cultivate good friends. You've got to take time to be with your family. You've got to take time to be with the people who are important to you, designing your life in those respects. Get away. Take the time. Reflect on your life. Recharge your batteries. Do some growing away from your enterprise. Then when you come back to your enterprise, after you have taken this time to balance your life, you will find that on the job, working on your enterprise, things will really go much better. So those are the 5 simple steps to go from average to fortune. Get serious, get smart, get going, get excited, and get away. I hope those points will be valuable for you as you consider them. And I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time to spend just a little time with you. I would invite you to come and attend my seminar. If I get a chance to see you there, I'll be happy to meet you. We usually have several hundred to 1,000 people attending the seminar, and I'd love to have you. I think I have some interesting things to share about life and about economics and how to do better. I've learned a lot these last 15, 20 years, and I've capsulized it in one evening. It's from 7 to 11. It's 4 hours of some very interesting material, and I think you'd find it exciting. I've got some ideas to share. I don't claim they're right, I just claim they're my ideas. But if you'll take the time, if you'll spend an evening with me, I think you'll find it rewarding. And I want to thank you for giving me this few minutes of your time. And for you giving me some of your time, I would just like to sincerely share this with you. Do not walk in front of me. I may not follow. Do not walk behind me. I may not lead. But walk beside me and be my friend. Thank you for listening. Hi everybody, I'm Jim Rohn. I'm happy for the opportunity to have a chance to visit with you again. I know many of you have attended my evening seminar, and some of you perhaps have attended my weekend seminar called The Making of a Leader. And it's a pleasure to visit with you again. I made some notes in my journal coming from Lisbon, Portugal to New York City. And the title of my list of things here was called The 7 Fundamentals for Success. And I'd like to take just a few minutes and go through these 7 fundamentals with you. I think you'll find it very interesting. The first fundamental is a constant plan for setting, rearranging, evaluating, and strengthening the purpose of your goals. Setting goals is a very important part of our life's process. In the evening seminar, for you that have been, we talked about this little simple formula for setting goals. In the leadership seminar, we came up with a whole 10-year plan of goal setting, business goals and personal goals, family goals, economic goals, financial independence. It's a basic fundamental. In fact, if you will work hard on setting goals, put together a plan for setting goals, reevaluate them, rearrange them, constantly talk about them, go over them again and again, I tell you what this process will do in my personal opinion. It'll put you in what's known as the top 5%. And if you want to be successful, if you want your life to really change in major ways, this is one of the fundamentals. Guess how many people have a constant plan for setting, rearranging, evaluating, and strengthening the purpose of their goals? The answer is very few. In fact, if you will do this, you will become among the few who do, that become the envy of all who watch. So that's number 1 fundamental for success. Get together with your family, your wife, your husband, your children, your business colleagues, and make it one of the major fundamentals in your life, constantly setting, rearranging, evaluating, and strengthening the purpose of your goals. That's number 1, fundamental for success. Here's number 2. The second fundamental is a clear picture of what you intend to do with your present resources. That's a fundamental. Figuring out a plan of what to do and how to manage your present resources. Most everyone I talk to has already got something. The big question is, what are you doing with it? Most everyone has some time, they have some resources, they have some money, or they have a paycheck, or they have some kind of resources, they have some kind of net worth. The big question is, what are you doing with it? Where are you investing it? Where are you putting it? There's a little simple talk I'm giving now, and it's especially designed for the kids, called The Care and Feeding of the Goose That Lays the Golden Eggs. First of all, you've got to understand about society and about money. You've got to understand how to earn it, where to get it, where it comes from, and the importance of managing it. Kids ought to be taught from the time they're just small what to do with a dollar. If a child has a dollar and goes and spends it, right away they've developed the wrong habits. And sure enough, if they continue those poor management habits over the first dollar, you can imagine they're probably going to do the same poor things with those same dollars when they get older. The plans we learn when we're small, sure enough, are most often the plans we follow the rest of our lives. What to do with your money and where to put it. We teach in The Care and Feeding of the Goose That Lays the Golden Eggs, you've got to be a happy taxpayer. You've got to make sure some of your money goes into financial institutions so that successful people can borrow it and start other businesses that employ more people. You've got to make sure that you give some of your money for charity. So for charity and for taxes and for savings and for the accumulation of capital, it's very important to have a management plan for your present resources so that at age 65 you don't wind up like most people do, broke. You wind up with substance, you wind up with plenty to share, you wind up with plenty to enjoy. So that's the second fundamental for success. A plan for using all of your present resources wisely. Now here's the third fundamental for success. You need a plan, a detailed plan for the use of your work time. We call it a game plan. Most people try to design tomorrow and next week and next month in their head. They try to just decide what they're going to do. And most people don't even think that far ahead. They think, I have to get up in the morning and go to work, and that's about the extent of it. But a game plan for financial independence, a game plan for your work time, a game plan for your personal time. The family needs a game plan so that you won't miss some of the important things that are helpful to your life and to your success. The kids need a game plan. Mom needs a game plan. Dad needs a game plan. You need a business game plan. You need a game plan for your office. If you're in business, a game plan for your business. A detailed plan for the use of your work time. In the leadership seminar, we talk about how to put together this detailed plan for the day and for the week and for the month. How to stretch out a plan for 6 months and for a year. In doing business around the world, we found that you have to detail the plans in great detail. Otherwise, sure enough, you're going to miss something. So that's the third fundamental for success. And I can promise you that a detailed plan for the use of your work time will put you in the top 5%, because most people don't have one. Now here's the fourth fundamental for success. Number 4 is a consistent plan for the gathering of knowledge. Most people get ideas just spasmodically, or when someone happens to come by, or they just happen to hear someone, or they happen to read a book that might have some ideas that could help to benefit their life. What I'm saying is we all need a consistent plan for the gathering of knowledge, a consistent plan for going to the library, a consistent plan for attending the lectures, attending the seminars. When you listen to a sermon, make sure you've got your journal to take notes. Wherever you go, gather knowledge, but gather it on purpose. Do it constantly, do it daily, and do it consistently. We need a consistent plan for reading books. Most people just read books haphazardly, spasmodically, or most people just don't read at all. Or they don't have a good plan for reading the right books. Sure enough, the man reads the comics instead of the classics. And he misses all the things that could really benefit his life because he doesn't have a plan. Here's a good thought to consider. Rarely does a good idea interrupt you. Good ideas must be pursued. You must go where they are. You must seek them out. And there's an important Bible phrase that says, if you seek, if you search, you will find. Sure enough, a consistent plan for gathering knowledge, reading the books, attending the lectures, putting together ideas and having a place to capture them like a journal where you can repeat them and go over them. That's a fundamental that if you'll follow it, will put you in the top 5%. Guess how many people have a consistent plan for the gathering of knowledge? Answer, very few. And what you want to be is one of the very few. Now here's the fifth fundamental for being successful. Number 5 is an association of people of common interest in progress, success, ideas, and philosophy. If you have a constant association of people who can better your life and better your lifestyle, you can't believe the progress that you can make. Mr. Schoaf shared with me when I first met him when I was 25 years old. He said, Jim, to do better, you've got to get around the right people. I have a good phrase for you. Never mistake the power of influence. The man says, well, I live here, but it doesn't really bother me. See, that's not true. He says, I'm around these people, but they really don't bother me. See, that's not true. Whoever you're around, whoever you're with, is exerting some kind of influence on your life. And what you must do, and this would be the good year to do it, the first year you've heard about it, is make plans to get around the right people. People who talk positive ideas. People who talk philosophy, the refinement of philosophy. See, just the latest joke won't help. You've got to get around people who read, people who are successful, and people who are growing and changing. Otherwise, your influence is going to be in the opposite direction. And I know most of us, wherever you work, you have to be around some negative influences. But what you must do is counterbalance that by an association of the right people, getting around the right people who can help to change your life for the better. So that's one of the 7 fundamentals, associating with the right people on a constant, consistent basis. So work on that one. And it's one of the 7 fundamentals. If you will work on an association of the right people who can help you to grow financially, personally, spiritually, socially, sure enough, it'll put you in the top 5%. Guess how many people have an association of people of common interest in progress, success, ideas, and philosophy? Answer, very few. But be one of the few. That's number 5. Here's number 6. The 6th fundamental for success is a plan for the development of all your personal skills. One of the great things to learn in life is that you can learn a great deal. There's hardly anything you can't learn. If you wished, you could learn several languages. There's so many skills that you can develop that you want to make sure that you've got a timetable and a plan for developing all those skills. Don't settle for less than you can be. See, at the end of your life, you don't want to wake up and discover that you've only lived 1/10 of it. And the person you could have become, you let that slide. The skill you could have developed, you just didn't take the time. There's a great deal of discipline required in developing all of your personal skills, but I can tell you that it's well worth the discipline. Make sure you go to the classes. Make sure you do all that you possibly can to develop every skill you can, from the skill of leadership, the skill of diplomacy, the skill of language, the skill of business. Whatever you can learn, make sure you take the time to learn it. Now here's the 7th and last fundamental for success. And this is a very important one. Mr. Shoaf taught me this one when I first met him at age 25. He called it lifestyle. Learning how to live. The 7th fundamental is a constant plan for figuring ways to live uniquely and to enjoy your present substance. Lifestyle is the challenge of learning how to live well. See, if you earned well and didn't live well, see, that would be pitiful. If a man made a great deal of money, but his personality didn't change, and his lifestyle didn't change, his uniqueness didn't change, see, that would be pitiful. It's pitiful to find a man in a $500,000 home, and sure enough, he's a $5,000 man. Learning the skills of lifestyle, what to do with your money so that you get joy from it. Shoaf taught me the simplest little things, like tip. He taught me what the word tip meant. I didn't know. I'm from a little farm community. What did I know about tip? He said tip, the word T-I-P, tip, comes from a little phrase called to ensure promptness. And the more I thought about that, then I understood what he meant. If a tip is to ensure promptness, when should you give it? Answer, up front. You don't wait to see whether or not you've gotten good service to decide to tip. You ensure good service. Mr. Shoaf said to me, sophisticated people make sure they get good service. It's just one of the little things to learn called lifestyle. How to enjoy your family, how to enjoy your money, how to enjoy your time and your substance, how to enjoy your own thoughts, figuring ways to anticipate your family's needs, to do it with joy instead of animosity, to get great delight in the substance you now have. Most people say, if I had more money, I'd be happier. But happiness is something you have to work on besides money, because the money won't make you happy. Those are the 7 fundamentals for success. goals, a plan for goals, a clear picture of how to use your resources, a plan for your work time, a plan for gathering knowledge, association with the right people, a plan for developing your skills, and lifestyle. If you'll follow those 7 fundamentals, I can promise you, life will work well for you. I want to thank you for giving me this time to spend with you. It's been just a few minutes, but I hope the few ideas I've had to share from my journal have been valuable to you. I look forward to meeting you if I haven't already met you, and if I have met you, I wish you continued success. Keep up the good work. Drop me